It is one of the most popular American operas ever written, and yet Susanna has never been performed at Opera Theater of St. Louis until now.
It is the second most performed American opera after Porgy and Bess, but that doesn't mean it's performed a lot. There aren't a lot of recordings, there aren't a lot of productions of it out there, and I think that's a shame because I think it's an absolute American treasure.
It is also a cautionary tale. Susanna is set in Appalachia and is the story of a young woman vilified after being spotted in a creek near her home bathing.
Exposing herself in to see.
Then, at the community church, where gossip is treated as breaking news, the blue-nosed locals, egged on by a shade tree preacher, immediately judge Susanna as a sinner and shun her. When the preacher later visits Susanna, demanding she confess her sin, he commits his own by raping her. And it only gets worse from there. For such a heavy story, the score is occasionally made lighter through its folksy sensibilities.
It's fun, you know. I think we see Susanna as being quite a dark opera, but there's also at least two that I can think of on the top of my head, really fun numbers. One's the Jaybird, and it makes me smile every single time I hear it.
Gemma New, who is conducting the production, is not new to St. Louisans or to the pit musicians from the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. From 2016 to 2020, she was the SLSO's resident conductor.
Where's a good place to pick it up?
Directing the opera is Patricia Rissette, who sung the role of Susanna as a college student and later as an acclaimed professional with the San Francisco Opera. She also personally knew Carlisle Floyd, who composed it. The teaming of Rissette and New marks only the second time in the history of Opera Theater of St. Louis when the director and conductor of a single production have both been women.
It's awesome working with Patricia. She's amazing, and she knows this opera inside and out.
I would not presume to say that if a male were directing it, it would have any less sensitivity. That would be sexist on my part. But I think we bring to the table certain specificities and strengths in telling a story.
I don't know if this is the first time that Susanna has been directed and conducted by women leaders. I think it's important. Female-led teams in opera are still way too uncommon.
Welcome here.
While there is no particular reason Susanna had not been produced by Opera Theater before, there is a very particular reason why it is being done now.
Phyllis Brissenden was a founding supporter of the company, and she leaned across the table and she looked at me and she said, "What operas are you going to subject us to across the next couple of years?" One of the operas I named was Carlisle Floyd's Susanna, and Phyllis said, "Well, I hope you'll do it, and I hope you'll do it soon. It's an opera I've never seen and always thought that would be great at Opera Theater of St. Louis."
And ask the Lord for forgiveness.
Opera Theater first announced it would produce Susanna as part of its 2020 season. But of course, there was no 2020 season because of the pandemic. And as fate would have it, Phyllis Brissenden never got to see her request fulfilled. She died just a few months before the 2020 season was set to begin. In her will, she left Opera Theater $45 million, enough money for the company to keep all its employees paid through the shutdown and then some. This season's production of Susanna is dedicated to her memory.
You know what days wait her.
The composer of Susanna said the story should be considered set in the present.
Have you no sense of decency, sir?
When it debuted in 1955, it was seen as a commentary on McCarthyism. Today, It seems there are plenty of other isms to which Susanna's themes of hypocrisy and mob mentality can be considered a warning.
It's a very complicated message. These characters are not just one facet of, human emotion. They have a lot of layers.
It's an outrage! It's a blasphemous outrage!
I think it is, unfortunately, still telling a story that is going on around us in our world, in our society. That story of narrow-mindedness, dogmatic thinking, intolerance. And it is, it's still very relevant.
I hope that audiences will go home and not say, wow, they hit us over the head with this lesson about what's true today, but that people may be inspired to wake up the next morning after the opera and to talk with someone about how this opera is helping them think differently, about those fundamental human themes of compassion, of understanding, and of not being swept away by the mob.